Visual. You think in pictures. While others process the world through words or sounds, your brain converts everything into images, diagrams, spatial layouts. Teachers talk, and you're mentally sketching what they're describing. You don't just hear information, you see it mapped out like a blueprint. Here's the hidden advantage nobody talks about. Visual learners are naturally gifted at pattern recognition and strategic planning. Your brain is wired to spot connections others miss. When you look at a problem, you're not seeing isolated facts. You're seeing relationships, structures, how pieces fit together. That's why visual thinkers dominate fields like architecture, design, data analysis, and military strategy. You remember where information was on a page. You recall the color of a chart better than the words someone spoke. Your spatial memory is exceptional. Give you a map once, and you've got it. Show you a process diagram, and the whole system clicks into place. Most people think visually learning just means you like pictures. That undersells it completely. You're running a mental simulation engine. While others argue in words, you're building models in your head, testing scenarios, rotating problems, seeing solutions before you can explain them. Your brain doesn't just store information, it renders it. Auditory. You learn through sound. Lectures stick. Conversations replay in your head word for word. When you read, there's a voice narrating inside your mind. Your ears are doing work that other people's eyes struggle with. Here's what makes this powerful. Auditory learners have exceptional ability to pick up on tone, emotion, and social cues. You hear what people actually mean, not just what they say. That slight hesitation before an answer, the tension underneath a calm voice, the rhythm of someone's speech when they're lying versus when they're telling the truth. You catch all of it. This makes you naturally skilled at communication, negotiation, and reading people. You don't need to see someone's face to know something's wrong. You hear it in their voice. Podcasts and audiobooks aren't just convenient for you, they're your optimal learning format. You retain more from a conversation than most people retain from a textbook. Your memory works like a recording. You can replay discussions, recall exactly how something was phrased, remember the specific words someone used months ago. People think you're paying extra attention. You're not. Your brain just captures audio differently. While visual learners need to see it and kinesthetic learners need to do it, you just need to hear it once. The sound carries the meaning, and meaning sticks. Reading, writing. Words are your operating system. You don't just read, you process. You don't just write, you think on paper. While others need diagrams or discussions, you need text. Lists, notes, articles, essays. The written word is how information becomes real to you. Here's the hidden edge. Reading. Writing learners develop superior critical thinking and the ability to articulate complex ideas clearly. When you write something down, you're not just recording it, you're analyzing it, restructuring it, testing whether it actually makes sense. Writing forces precision. You can't hide vague thinking behind confident speaking when it's on paper. You catch logical gaps others miss because you're used to following arguments sentence by sentence. You spot weak reasoning because you've spent years evaluating written claims. Your notes aren't just memory aids, they're thinking tools. The act of writing is the act of understanding. This gives you an enormous advantage in any field requiring clear communication: law, academia, business, journalism. You can take a complicated idea and break it down into something anyone can follow. You can read dense material and extract exactly what matters. Most people skim, you actually read. Most people talk through their thoughts, you write through yours. That's not just a preference, it's a competitive edge that compounds over time. Kinesthetic. You learn by doing. Sitting still and listening feels like prison. Your body needs to move, touch, experience. Information that enters through action sticks forever. Information that enters through passive observation vanishes within hours. The hidden advantage here is profound. Kinesthetic learners build deep, long-lasting memory through physical experience. You don't just know things, you know them in your bones. A concept you've physically practiced becomes permanent. It's encoded in muscle memory, in procedural recall, in pathways that don't fade like verbal memorization does. This is why hands-on learners excel in surgery, athletics, trades, engineering, and any field requiring real-world execution. You can read about a technique 100 times, but you don't actually know it until your hands have done it. Other learners understand concepts. You embody them. Your restlessness isn't a flaw. It's a signal that your brain needs movement to process effectively. Walking while thinking, fidgeting during meetings, gesturing while explaining, these aren't distractions. They're how your system stays engaged. Schools punish this. Reality rewards it. The people who actually build things, fix things, perform under pressure, they're overwhelmingly kinesthetic. kinesthetic. Theory lives in textbooks. Execution lives in your hands. And execution is what the world actually pays for. Logical, mathematical. Your brain hunts for patterns. Where others see random events, you see systems. Where they see coincidence, you see cause and effect. You need things to make sense, not emotionally, but structurally. If you can't find the underlying logic, the information feels incomplete. The hidden advantage is this. Logical learners are naturally skilled at critical analysis and decision-making. You don't accept claims because they sound good. You test them. You ask what the evidence is, whether the reasoning holds, what would have to be true for this to be false. Your brain runs quality control on incoming information automatically. This makes you exceptional at problem-solving, debugging, strategy, and any field requiring systematic thinking. Finance, programming, science, law. You can take a complex situation, break it into components, identify the variables that actually matter, and ignore the noise everyone else gets distracted by. But here's what most people miss. Logical thinking isn't cold, it's protective. Emotions can be manipulated, stories can be fabricated, logic cuts through both. When someone's trying to sell you something, convince you of something, or lead you somewhere you shouldn't go, your pattern recognition kicks in. You see the structure behind the persuasion. You notice what doesn't add up. Your brain is a lie detector that runs on reason. Social, interpersonal. You think best with others. Solo study feels flat. Group discussion lights your brain up. You don't just tolerate collaboration, you need it. Other people's perspectives aren't noise to you. They're data. They're how you triangulate truth. The hidden advantage here is massive. Social learners are highly adaptable and naturally skilled at persuasion, networking, and navigating complex human dynamics. You read rooms instinctively. You know who to approach, when to speak, how to adjust your message for different audiences. This isn't manipulation. It's intelligence applied to people instead of problems. Your learning accelerates in group settings because you're processing multiple viewpoints simultaneously. You're testing your understanding against others, finding gaps, filling them in real time. Debate makes you sharper. Discussion makes you clearer. You don't learn and then communicate. Communicating is how you learn. This translates directly to leadership, sales, management, teaching, politics, anywhere human coordination matters. You build alliances naturally. You resolve conflicts intuitively. While solitary learners master individual skills, you master the skill of working with anyone. And in a world where almost nothing significant gets done alone, that's not a soft skill, it's a superpower. The most successful people aren't always the smartest. They're the ones who can get smart people to work together. That's you. Solitary, intrapersonal. You learn alone, not because you can't work with others, but because your best thinking happens in silence. You need space to process, time to reflect, room to hear your own thoughts without external interference. Here's the hidden advantage. Solitary learners develop greater self-awareness and the ability to think independently under pressure. While others need consensus to feel confident, you've learned to trust your own judgment. Your conclusions aren't borrowed from the loudest voice in the room. They're built from the ground up through personal analysis. This makes you resistant to groupthink, peer pressure, and popular delusions. When everyone rushes in one direction, you're the one asking whether that direction makes sense. You're not contrarian for its own sake. You just won't move until you've thought it through yourself. Deep focus is your natural state. You can sit with a complex problem for hours, turning it over, examining it from angles nobody suggested because nobody was there to suggest them. Your insights come from depth, not breadth. While social learners sample many perspectives quickly, you mine single perspectives thoroughly. The world undervalues this. Teams get celebrated, collaboration gets praised, but every breakthrough idea started in someone's head before it reached the group. Solitary processing is where original thinking lives. Your independence isn't isolation. It's the foundation of genuine intellectual contribution. Verbal, linguistic. Words are your power. You learn through language, speaking it, hearing it, playing with it. Vocabulary comes easily. Phrasing matters to you. You notice when something is said well and when it falls flat. Language isn't just communication for you. It's a precision instrument. The hidden advantage is significant. Verbal, linguistic learners are naturally persuasive and exceptionally skilled at conveying ideas clearly. You can take a complex concept and find the exact words that make it land. You can argue a position, tell a story, or explain a process in ways that actually change how people think. This shows up everywhere: writing, teaching, law, marketing, public speaking, negotiation. The ability to articulate matters more than most people realize. Ideas don't spread themselves, they spread through language, and you control language better than most. Your memory for words is exceptional. Quotes stick, phrases replay. You remember not just what was said, but how. This makes you a powerful communicator and a dangerous debater. You can recall someone's exact words and use them. You can reframe arguments using precise terminology that shifts the entire conversation. Most people struggle to say what they mean. You struggle when you can't find the perfect way to say it. That gap is your edge. Clear language is clear thinking made visible, and you've been practicing both your entire life. Musical, rhythmic. Sound patterns are your secret language. You notice rhythm in speech, melody in ambient noise, structure in what others experience as randomness. Music isn't just entertainment. It's a framework your brain uses to organize information. Here's the hidden advantage. Musical learners possess superior emotional intelligence and memory retention through sound-based encoding. When you attach information to rhythm or melody, it sticks permanently. That's why you still remember song lyrics from 15 years ago, but forget what someone told you yesterday. Your memory is optimized for pattern and flow. This extends beyond music itself. You pick up on the rhythm of conversations, the tempo of social dynamics, the emotional undertones in someone's voice. You sense tension before it surfaces because you're tracking frequencies others ignore. Musical thinkers often excel at languages because they hear the melody underneath words. Accents come easier. Pronunciation feels natural. You're not just learning vocabulary, you're learning how the language sounds, how it flows, where the beats fall. In learning contexts, you can convert any information into a rhythm and lock it in. Boring facts become memorable when structured musically. This isn't a gimmick, it's leveraging how your brain actually stores data. While others drill through repetition, you encode through pattern. Same result, less effort. Your brain already speaks in rhythm. Information just needs to match the beat. Naturalistic. You see in systems, not mechanical systems, living ones. Patterns in nature, categories in chaos, relationships between things that others perceive as unconnected. You instinctively classify, sort, and organize based on natural observation. The hidden advantage is powerful. Naturalistic learners excel at systems thinking and seeing the big picture. Where others focus on isolated details, you see how everything connects. Ecosystems, organizations, markets, social dynamics, they all follow patterns you recognize instinctively. This makes you exceptional at fields requiring holistic analysis: ecology, biology, medicine, business strategy, investing. You see feedback loops before others notice them. You predict how changes in one area will cascade through an entire system. You think in networks, not nodes. Your observational skills are exceptional. You notice details others miss entirely. Subtle changes in environment, small shifts in patterns, early warning signs that something has changed. This isn't just nature watching. It's a trained awareness that applies everywhere. In a world increasingly dominated by complexity, your ability to zoom out and see whole systems is rare. Most people get lost in details. Most expertise is narrow. You carry a mental model that spans boundaries. You see how things fit together because that's what your brain does automatically. Categories, patterns, relationships, consequences. Where others see a mess, you see a map. And maps are how you navigate what everyone else finds overwhelming.